The Kingdom Hearts collection is coming to the Nintendo Switch, but it's coming via cloud, and I thought that was very interesting, and I thought it highlighted an issue that Nintendo's had for a very, very long time, and I thought it would be interesting to talk about that, maybe get your thoughts. Now, the issue that I see is one that, again, as I've said, they've had for quite some time. It's one of the reasons why Nintendo lost Final Fantasy VII. They just decided to stick with the cartridge-based format, and Square said that they wanted the CD-based to make the game bigger and bolder and put all those CG cutscenes in there. Hence, PlayStation 1 won out and got Final Fantasy VII. There were other reasons, but that was one of the major reasons. And again, it highlights the fact that Nintendo does what Nintendo wants to do. They don't follow a trend. They don't even follow the industry, which is the problem, I think, here. You have developers making games within this generation like Remedy and Control. Control is available on the Nintendo Switch, but only via cloud. And I don't think many people are utilizing that. Now, of course, Remedy wants to get their game on the Switch because they can make money. The Switch sells a lot of units, but they can't use the hardware to get the game there natively. But then I thought about The Witcher 3 and the fact that the developer CD Projekt Red worked really hard to get that game ported over to the Nintendo Switch, and they did so. It wasn't a perfect port by any means, but they managed to get the complete game, full experience on the Nintendo Switch. So what is the hang-up? And again, obviously it's going to be cost. Why spend that money to get that game to run on Switch hardware when you can just lean on the cloud? It's much cheaper for these publishers to do that. I think that's what's happening. I think it's going to continue to happen in the future when it comes to these big third-party games, and I'm not sure it's going to bode well for Nintendo and third-party and users of Nintendo Switches and third-party games. But again, nothing new when it comes to third-party relationships with Nintendo. And in this generation, especially with these graphically intensive games, the Switch is increasingly left behind when it comes to those types of experiences. Another big issue of this trend continues is that the Switch is a hybrid console. It's portable as well as a home console. And if you're on the go, how are you going to play these games? You can't connect to a data plan, 5G, and if you connect to a mobile hotspot wirelessly, you're at the mercy of the quality of that hotspot. So it's not a great situation to be in to play those games. I'm sure these publishers know that, but the fact that they're willing to just lean on the cloud is really indicative of the Switch and the hardware being really tailored to meet Nintendo's needs. And that's not a bad thing because they've been incredibly successful. Fans around the world love what they're doing. They love their games. But I do think they need to start looking at expanding the ideas that they have and allowing these other developers, these third-party developers, giving them a canvas that's a little bit bigger, something that they can paint on a little bit easier. And I think that will go a long way into bringing more games to the Switch. Obviously, cost is an issue, and they're not going to spend that money. Remedy with Control went cloud. Now this entire Kingdom Hearts collection is coming, and you figure it would be a no-brainer to put these games on the Switch. You play them at home, you take them on the go, but they're leaning on the cloud because, again, why spend that money to port these games to the Switch? It's not going to be an easy task the way it was bringing them to an Xbox or a PlayStation. The cloud's there. Let's lean on it. If they're making that decision knowing that most people aren't even going to use the cloud to play these games, that's a signal to Nintendo to maybe beef up the hardware just a bit, make that canvas a little bit bigger so those painters can paint on your device. Now, I certainly don't think that this is an issue that's going to cause the Nintendo Switch to sell less or to be seen as a quote-unquote lesser console because, again, Nintendo's always had this sort of dilemma and this relationship with third parties. They've always wanted more out of Nintendo hardware when it came to the technical specifications, and Nintendo always just went along to the tune of their own drum. But I do think that the rumored Switch HD or Switch Pro, I think that's coming. And again, I think they'll close that gap a little bit more to make it easier for third parties to squeeze their games onto Nintendo platforms. Now, I don't think they will ever be the highest end when it comes to technical specifications, but I do think they'll get to a point where it's good enough. Let me know what you think in the comment section below about this topic. Thanks for watching. Think about sharing this video out on your favorite social media platform of choice. Maybe subscribing to the channel. At the very least, hit the like button. It helps me grow the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.